This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the UK's #1 coral selling website prestigereef.co.uk and reefdork.etsy.com for all your 3D printed aquarium accessory needs. What's up, YouTube? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first Prestige Reef Dork show for 2 weeks, Ryan.
You missed me, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I sat on Sunday night last weekend just crying on my own. Sobbing.
And then called me on Monday, didn't you? I think we spoke on Monday, didn't we?
Probably. It was a long time ago, so I don't remember.
Yeah, true. It obviously wasn't that interesting.
No, probably not. Have you been? What have you been up to actually? Not like reefing necessarily, but what have I missed?
Same as you. Just crying myself to sleep after I can last a week, but after that, not so good. But don't know. Just I'm good. Nothing hugely exciting to report personally. Someone's just asked what's going on with the Waterbox, but I will fill you in with my week in reefing. Because that will be part of it. You've not had a Waterbox update for a while.
No, I've not. I saw it. I don't know, a month ago, maybe more recently than that. So I'm guessing nothing's changed, but we'll come on to that. Yeah.
Well, the time scale has changed because you know how we all have to wait. I can't remember how many weeks it is for the quarantine period.
It depends who you believe, but
isn't the longest one like 11 weeks?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was 11 weeks yesterday. So,
oh really? Ooh.
Yeah. So I took all the rocks apart to catch all the fish, but I put them all in and what I should have done is I should have put them back in this like immediately after catching the fish, putting them back. But what I did is I waited 11 weeks. So I've now forgotten where the rocks go, and I've tried to put it back together. I don't know if you ever like a rock's ever fallen down, it never goes back quite right.
No, it's impossible. Yeah.
Well, I've tried to put it back how it was before based on watching YouTube videos that I filmed of it, and it looks nothing the same. I can't even get one rock that's the same, but I will keep trying, but the fish will be going back in this week. So
very exciting. I'm just going to interject quickly because we have a Dutchman, Arjen Drenthe, don't know. Hello, Arjen. So I went to I was in France last weekend, but also went across to Belgium very briefly, and I want to go back and do a little bit of a snoop into Amsterdam, into Holland, Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
Just like at a weekend.
Reason?
It'll not what you're thinking. It'll probably be motorbiking stuff. But if I'm going to, because I don't think there's much aquatic stuff going on across the north of France or into Belgium. But if I go into the Netherlands, it's a different story. They've got all sorts of stuff going on, reefy stuff going on there. So there might be a couple of shops that are worth stopping in on. So
I wonder why it's different if there's where one place there's nothing and then it's not that far away.
To be fair, there might well be reefy stuff going on in northern France and Belgium I just don't know about, but I'm well aware that this is a much bigger, it seems from the outside perspective that it's much bigger in Netherlands, Holland, than it is in France or northern France anyway, Belgium, because they've got places like Dijon, haven't they?
Oh yeah, that's true. And that's one of the I think they're one of the best wholesalers, aren't they?
Yeah, it'd be great if we had access to them still. And there's another guy in from Tassie, down under. Good day.
What time is it there?
I know, early.
Isn't it like 3 a.m.?
Well, the reason that I pulled that one up is because I said the other week, last time we were on, I said I was going to message Parker's Reef. Yeah. I've been saying that for a while because I'm useless at organising this sort of stuff, but I did. And I worked out the timing, and I think it's about 4 a.m. on a Monday morning.
They said 4 a.m.
Australia. 4 a.m. is what Grover said. And I messaged Sam and I was like, it's going to be at 4 a.m. We could do it at 5 a.m. Is that going to be a problem for you then? And he was like, and I just wondered if there was going to be some, because someone had said that he does other podcasts or whatever, he's done other podcasts, but they must be on different days, so it's a different But he was like, yeah, that's going to be tough. So
yeah, let's put it this way, I wouldn't be getting up at 5 a.m. to do a podcast with two idiots like us
on a Monday morning before you go to work. There's just zero chance. Yeah. So I don't know. We might see. I've not talked to you about it, but I might see if we can do it on a Saturday or something. I don't know. It might be difficult to organise it, but because it would be cool to have one.
I mean, I think whatever day it is, if it's going to be 4 a.m., it's still really early.
And if we did it at like 10 a.m. UK time.
Oh yeah, no, that's
then it's normal time for him. So, but we'll talk about that later. That was one of the things I was going to talk to you about before the stream, but we could probably talk. Yeah, exactly. Rudra says he saw a new reef tank, couldn't resist, been loving the Fluvilevo as a nano. Let's see what Reef Dork has in plan. Yeah, okay, so let's kick off with that because this is the headline topic. Again, it's not necessarily the headline, it's just probably the most exciting thing.
Just a topic.
It's just a photo, it's a thumbnail.
Yeah. Okay. The funny thing was, when you said that, I quickly looked and I was like, you know what, I need another fish tank, because I did not know what we were talking about until that moment.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I've got that. I've had it for a little while now, a few weeks now, but I got that. I emailed TMC, I don't know, a month or two ago and said, send me one of those tanks because I think they look wicked, and I'll make a couple of videos about it. So I've got that now. And this week's video on the Reef Dork main channel is going to be an unboxing of it. Some people really don't like unboxing, but unboxing videos I don't want to swear, but they're ridiculous, frankly, aren't they? There's like, who cares about opening a box and looking at what's in it? They are pointless, but you're looking pensive.
It depends what people are unboxing. Yeah. Because sometimes they're like, I don't watch a huge amount of them, but if I'm going to buy a product or something, I will Google it to see, or the other thing is if I want to know how to set it up, usually an unboxing video also shows it being set up. If it's just this is the product, it's not quite the same. This
will be opening up and showing you what you get and talking through, because there's some things I've opened up already, but there's some things in there that I think are worth talking about that I wouldn't get to talk about in a proper video. But unboxing videos are a bit pointless, but I'm going to do one anyway. And normally I do them on my second channel, but this one I'm going to do on the main channel because there's a lot more to talk about and it's more interesting. But there's some really nice little touches in that tank. But what I'm going to try to do when I do, so that's just going to be the first video. Then I'm going to do a second video and maybe a third. I'm not going to keep it as a reef tank long term. Might keep it as a quarantine tank long term, but I'll work that out. But the second video I'm going to try to set up a reef tank in 24 hours, start to finish, full of corals with fish in there as well.
Interesting. I'll be interested in the long-term success. I know you said you're not going to keep it long-term, that anyone can set up a tank for a day.
There's going to be riddled with disclaimers of how much of a bad idea this is, and this is just I just want to show you what it looks like. I'm not suggesting you do it, because the main thing is having the lights on full blast from day one. With full of corals and having to chuck in food and all this sort of stuff. You're just asking for major problems, but
that's
I don't
exactly
need to worry
how
about
I set up the coral farm.
Exactly,
I remember on day one, it was like
you were pouring in nitrate and phosphate, weren't you?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, but I didn't have a choice because I had to shut down my 1,000-litre tank. So it was all, as I was shutting it down, I was just fragging pieces of it and then put it in the coral farm. So didn't have a choice, but it can be done. But would I recommend it? No, because the Waterbox didn't go quite the same way.
No, well, this is a beginner tank as well, and like the last thing I would recommend for a beginner is put all your corals in day one. That's silly. But one of the things I'm going to do, because I still haven't worked out what I want to do with quarantine, but because I've planned on doing quarantine at some point, I've got a load of Fluval Biomax balls, I think they're called. Fluval media, basically, and it doesn't absorb copper. So I've got a load of that in my sump of my main tank. Basically, the point of that is, at any point, if I want to set up a quarantine tank, I just pull out 4 or 5 of those balls, put them in a quarantine tank, and it's live. It's cycled. So I'll do that with this little TMC tank as well, and that worked last time. So I've set that tank up twice, I think. The first time I set it up was just winging it. Basically, you had to put fish in, bottle of bacteria, and all that sort of stuff. No seeded media anywhere. Second time I did it, I put them in, put the bio balls in or whatever they were. Didn't get a reading of ammonia at all, so it worked from a biological, like as in from the cycling point of view. Whether it would have been a disaster if it was a reef tank and 2 months later with algae everywhere and all that. But
You don't get attached to your tanks like that. Even after all the trouble the Waterbox has given me, I still won't get rid of it. But
That's funny,
because I refuse to be defeated. But you're happy to set up a tank knowing that you're going to shut it down in a month's time or however, which is just, if I ever did what you do, I'd set up a tank, film it, and then keep it for another 6 years probably. I would just keep keeping them, and my house would just get more and more tanks in it. And obviously I got 4 systems already, so 4 is plenty for me.
4, well, that's the thing. So I got up to 4 tanks a couple of years ago, and it was just it was cool, but I just didn't. It was too much, and you neglect 1 or 2, and then 1 or 2. It's not. And now this will be me back up to 3.
Yeah,
but I just don't want to. I don't want to start. It's a slippery slope when you start, because you're like, oh, I could get another tank. It's like, oh, I haven't got a soft coral tank. I could get one of them, and then you'd be like, I haven't got an SPS tank. I could get one of them. Then I'm like, oh, I could get a puffer fish or a mimic filefish or whatever.
It drains the fun, in my opinion. Look, some people have like 3 tanks very, very successfully.
Yeah.
But the more work you have to do, the less fun it becomes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So,
but basically, that's the story of the headline, is that I've got that new tank. I've got it. It's back in the it's not back in the box. It's back in its wrapping. But I'm going to be setting it up soon, probably within a couple of weeks. And actually, one of the first things I did, the light it comes with, I'm sure will be totally fine. But I started thinking, because if I'm going to keep it as a quarantine tank, I want to be able to control the intensity of the light. And so I thought, well, let's see if I can fit an AI blade in there. I've got an AI little 12-inch AI blade lying around, and then I could set that to 1% or whatever time I want really easily. And you can't straight away, but if you 3D print little brackets like these, it fits. So I've designed and 3D printed some brackets. For most people, that's a 200 quid tank, including everything: the skimmer, the light, the return pump, everything. 200 quid tank, and an AI blade 12 inch is 180 quid. So for most people, buying that light is a really bad idea, because you're spending the same amount of money on the light that you don't need, because it comes with the light. But for me, it'll be really handy, and I've got one that's just lying around.
So it doesn't cost any extra.
Exactly. Yeah. Although it would be a good thing to upgrade to if you got into it, because the whole point of a tank like that is that it's to dip your toes in the water. Do I like this hobby? Is it for me? And if it's not for you, you've lost 200 quid. Who cares? And you can sell it for 100 quid or whatever. You probably spend a bit more money on livestock, but it's you're not gonna bankrupt yourself. But if you've got a tank like that for a year or so, maybe even 6 months, you're probably going to want to upgrade it and develop it. So there'll be some people who would want to upgrade the light and then you take the lid off and make it look nicer and do all sorts of things with it. That's what I did with the Fluval Evo. From day one, I set up and I took the top off. I put more power heads in. I changed the light, did everything. And there'll be people who want to do that, but most people, I think, are just, look, day one, this is my first tank. I don't want to spend all my money on it, but this will allow me to get my feet wet and see if it's right for me. So because that with 200 quid, that's not a lot of money at all, and that's so good that you won't necessarily feel like, oh, I should really get a freshwater tank first.
Yeah,
you'll just be like, well, I can do a bit of research. I can spend 200 quid, and if I don't like it, I don't like it.
It's basically a gateway. It's like a gateway drug into the hobby.
Exactly.
Very clever what they're doing.
Yeah, completely. I wonder if it's go on.
Seduce newbies in. It's fine. We'll get a little tank, and knowing that they're going to get a bigger tank eventually.
Yeah, I wonder if it's almost like a loss leader. Not that they actually lose money on it, but that it's like because Amazon, for example, I think I can't remember what it was. They used to sell Kindles for basically it made no profit to sell a Kindle.
Yeah,
but they knew that they'd sell books to you. So I wonder if TMC are doing that because they supply a large portion of the fish and corals. So if they get you on the hook, it doesn't matter if they only make 10 quid on the tank, because they're going to make money off all the corals you're going to buy for the next 30 years.
True. Well, we can ask them. We'll be there soon, won't we?
Yes, that's in the news though, so you can't.
That's in the news. We'll keep it quiet now. Top secret.
But basically, that's what I've been up to. That's the end of it. It's just a glass box at the moment, covered in plastic. So I don't have much else to tell you.
So the title of this video is Your Week in Reefing, and we're 14 minutes in and we're done.
It's done. Yeah.
Nothing really done. You got some new corals. You told me. You sent me pictures.
Oh, I did. I did. Yeah. So I've got a few new gunnies. So I went to Vision Aquatics down in Dorset on Saturday. Yeah. Yesterday, and it's a long journey. And I used to go there because Sean Russell who was Acroman, who's been on the live stream ages ago, and so I go there regularly, and he's not there anymore, so I don't go as regularly. But I went on a trip there and I bought 2 gunnies and an alvey, 50 quid each. Which I didn't think was too bad. They're small frags. They're on the size of a small frag plug. Yeah. But they looked reasonably well settled, and I thought they were reasonably priced. And they had a little tray of, I don't know, a dozen different types of gunnies. If you're in the area and you like gunnies, nip in, and they've got some. Yeah, they've got a few. They were nice. So so that was I bought them yesterday. I've not been doing an awful lot else. There were a couple of things actually from before I went away last weekend. First is a guy called Buck Ponter. This is for an audience of 1. Hi, Buck. So after, because you remember you read out you put into ChatGPT, tell me about the Prestige Reef Dork show.
Yeah.
It's like, well, it's generally well received, but they don't really
know anything.
there's no information. Yeah. And actually, so I was thinking that must be an aggregation of the comments of people that have reviewed it on Spotify.
Yeah.
So I went on Spotify to read the reviews, which I've never done before. But it turns out on Spotify you can only enter a star rating, so 1 to 5 stars. That's it. You can't put comments. 4.8 stars if you're asking.
4.8.
Or was it 4.9? I can't remember. I know. That's good. You're not happy with that. It needs to be
not when
5.
You're a perfectionist.
Okay. Anyway, but
I'm going to hunt down the person that did less than 5 stars.
Gave a 4-star review. But there was I noticed you can comment on Spotify, and I never read them because the only time I go onto Spotify is on Sunday night after this live stream when I'm uploading the live stream, and by that point I'm tired and I just want to upload it and I want to move on, so I don't actually read the comments.
Yeah.
And you have to go into a different section, so they're not there. But whilst I was doing this, I flicked through a few. There's a guy called Buck Ponter. Loads of people as well, by the way, have commented on Spotify. So thank you, and I'm sorry I've missed everything. But Buck Ponter in particular, really nice bloke. Lots of really nice. I didn't write them down, but really nice comments. He just seemed like a really nice guy, and I appreciated reading the comments. So Buck, thank you, mate. I appreciate that.
Audience of 1. Thank you, Buck.
Audience of 1. There we go. For the other 6,000, 5,999.
He won't know that we will, assuming he listens every week, because if you're leaving a comment, you assume that they listen regularly. Yeah. That one person will be like, yeah, they mentioned
on a
me.
Train. Like, yeah. Well, so these were all from a while ago, so he might have stopped. He might have got fed up because I never replied to his comments. But but yeah, there we go. And the only other thing was from the week before was I've written down ozone and the value of forums. So I'm running ozone on my main tank, and what I found, I set up previously on my last tank before I broke it down, but I was only running for a few months before I decided to break the tank down. So I couldn't really give you any useful information on it. But now I've been running it for almost a year now on this tank. And for a start, the skimmer I had before was a Deltec 600i, a brilliant skimmer, but it doesn't really draw much air through the ozone generator, I found.
Yeah. Whereas
the skimmer I have now is an expensive one. It's a Royal Exclusive Bubble King, but man, it pulls the air through the ozone generator like it's like a plane. You can hear the air sucking through, and it's brilliant. And my water is crystal clear, like you can see everything. It's just absolutely perfect. But I did a water change, and I took a photo of I meant to do a photo of the new water next to a photo of the old water, but I forgot to, so I started putting the new water back in. So I took a photo of the old water. Actually, what I should have done is I should have thought about this, organized my thoughts, and I should have gone onto my thread and I should have got the photo that I took. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to delay whilst I found it. Right. So I took a photo. This is my old water change water. And normally water change water is yellow, right?
Yeah.
It's quite turquoise, but that is blue. That is spot on.
I was like, oh, is that the first one?
You can't. That's the only, I forgot. Yeah. But that is, so on a normal tank, that's the old water. On a normal tank, that is yellow. and that's water I'd just taken out of the tank, and it was crystal clear blue. And from memory, it looked the same as the new water anyway. But someone commented saying, and this is the thing with Ultimate Reef, you get a lot of quite experienced people on there, and someone commented, quite experienced guy was saying, "Oh, that's quite turquoise. What's your ORP?" And I don't have an ORP. I don't monitor ORP. And basically, what I've decided to do on the back of that was I had a bit of a chat with him, and I've decided to turn the ozone down. So I had it on 1 hour per night every day, once a week. It comes on at like 3 a.m. and it goes off at 4 a.m. And now I've set it to come on at 1 hour once a week, because I think it's probably doing too good a job. And the couple of people were saying on Ultimate Reef that they have theirs on an ORP controller, and it hardly ever comes on, because once you get it dialed in and clear your water clear, doesn't need regular topping up like I had. So I've now dialed that back a bit, and it's only been a couple of weeks, so I couldn't tell you the results, but I should just get an ORP controller.
What you're saying is ozone generator Reef Dork approved.
Well, yes, I think so. Yeah, because it's crystal clear. It looks wicked.
Because it does a few other things, doesn't it? It can battle. People say that it can battle diatoms and dinoflagellates and all those other weird things.
Yeah, I don't know about all that. The one of the other reasons that I decided to put, so I bought those 2 soft corals, the toadstools, recently, and one of the reasons I decided to put them in the main tank rather than the cade over my shoulder is because I've got ozone, and I think it does the same sort of thing as carbon does in terms of soft corals, in that it zaps toxins. Yeah. So if they're leaching out toxins, it's not going to harm the tank. So I think it does that. I think it binds toxins and like absorbs them or whatever. But no facts here.
What we'll do, I'll probably get one, and next time you're down this way, you can come help me fit it. Because I've never fitted one, so it's the same with anything. Until you know what it is, it's like frightening.
Completely.
But it's probably simple way. And I think you've done a video on it, haven't you? I know you said you were going to an engagement.
No, I didn't ever get around to it because I only ran it for a few months on the last tank. I was like,
you had one shot. You had one shot of me watching one of your videos, and you didn't take it.
But yeah, we'll do that. I'll because it's brilliant. And if I did think if I were to set up, and I'm thinking of I'm thinking of changing the cade to a different tank.
Why?
Yeah. Because I'm an idiot, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I like to tinker, and I can't sit still.
A bigger tank?
Yeah, peninsula tank. So what I want is a 3 foot. That's just under 2 feet front to back. I want a 3 foot peninsula tank in here, but I think it's probably a bad idea. It's not.
It's not big enough for a 3 foot peninsula tank.
If I got the desk currently sticks out by a foot because I've got an L-shaped desk. But if I got rid of the desk and got a normal desk, then I'd gain that foot back, so I'd have the same amount of space.
Okay.
But anyway, it may or may not happen. ORP is oxidation and reduction potential or something like that. By the way, Southeast Reefer. Don't worry about it. It's I'll cover it again later. But it's I can't remember. I can't even remember what it is. It's been a long time since I've actually researched ozone properly, so I can't remember all of the interesting things. But I think 400 is the point that you're supposed to aim for. And if it goes, I can't remember if it goes above or below that, the ozone. I can't remember, but that's how you're supposed to tie in ozone. So you know you need ozone if your ORP is at the wrong, in inverted commas, level. And if it goes higher or lower, then you turn it off or on. I forget which way around it is. But
I've never tried it, but I think it'll be interesting. I'd try it on the Waterbox probably. I know apparently it can have some effect on parasites and stuff like that as well. So
yeah,
not that there can't possibly be anything left in there.
No.
And I'm not buying any new fish. I'm going to put the fish back in. I'm not buying any new ones.
Okay.
So some of them I won't keep. I've decided. It's funny because sometimes I buy stuff on impulse, and it's not necessarily that I don't want them. It's more of the fact that, for example, I have a really big yellow tang, but really little other tangs. But I've also got a really little yellow tang. So why don't I just swap them out and just put the little yellow tang in there and sell the big yellow tang? So it's things like that. There's some of the... I'm going to be adding them... Are we going on to my week in reefing now? Because I can just
we will do. There was just one last thing I was going to say that was the point.
Okay, we'll do your last thing then.
If I set up that peninsula tank, which I probably won't do, but if I were to do so, I'd run ozone on it, because seeing through two sides of a tank makes it look crystal clear anyway, and having ozone on a tank like that would just be like
What tank would you like?
There's one by Neptunian. So I've looked. There aren't many that fit my criteria. My criteria is it's got to be peninsular and it can't be more than 3 feet long. The Red Sea do a peninsular tank that's 3 foot 2 inches long, something like that. So just about okay. But it's the same height as my old peninsular tank, and that was the one thing the main thing I didn't like about my old peninsular tank was that it was really tall. The cabinet was 1 meter tall, and the tank is 160, so you can't really. And I want a lower one. So the only other one is from a company called Neptunian Cube, company from China.
They're the ones with the no back weir, aren't they?
Tiny weir box. Yeah, exactly. So they have one that would be perfect, but it's not yet available. So even if I wanted to do it, I couldn't buy it. And the only other option would be custom, but I don't really want to do custom. Because I think they'd be more expensive, and I don't
possibly.
Anyway,
I'm not sure who distributes Neptunian Cube.
I don't know.
But it's only because I remember seeing them at Love to Reef last year. They had one of that's the only time I've ever seen one of those tanks. It was there. You could obviously see it in person. And I like the idea that it's got no weir box, because then there's no. That's the weir box is one of those things which just not ruins, but it affects the aesthetics of the tank.
You want a Cade in that case, my friend?
Why do they not have one?
It's built into the back. So that is the back of this tank is completely flat. There's no sticky out weir box. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a clever design. You can get Cade peninsular tanks, but I think the shortest one is 5 foot, so it's too small. I'm mixing some salt water, by the way.
Yeah.
And I've got it's just an AC pump, and it's buzzing, so I'm just going to turn it off whilst you talk about.
So do you want me to start my week in reefing?
Yeah, do it.
Okay. He's gone now. No, I immediately freak out when he's gone. Where did I go? Okay, so the water box, right. So as I mentioned earlier, what is that it? You've gone that quickly.
Yeah, it was just.
I thought it was going to be like a 15-minute on my own section.
No.
Right, I might as well. Right, so the water box. Let's start with this now. Just a reminder, I put all the fish in together a little while ago, didn't I? Loads, not together, but loads of fish all in at the same time. And for whatever reason, it didn't work. It was obviously a massive stressor event. I think that sometimes when you've been in this hobby for a long time, you get cocky and you do things. And cocky is not really the right word, but you get confident, overconfident, or even complacent. Yeah,
100%.
And I go, right, well, I'm going to put these angelfish in, and I put a few different dwarf angels, and obviously they chased each other. And I just think, I looked at what I did, and I was like, I would never have done this when I first started. And I had great success when I first started. So why am I doing this now?
Yeah.
Because what I would normally do is I'd put a fish in, put it in a, let's say it's a new fish, put it in a isolation, like a, what do they call it, acclimation box, and leave it there for 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, add another fish and put that in the acclimation box. Then 2 weeks later, add another fish. Don't go and buy 4 or 5 fish and put more at the same time. You're almost asking for disaster. But I was doing it kind of, I'm not sure why I was doing it, to be honest, but it wasn't the right thing to do. So what I'm going to do this time, I will be putting the fish in. I won't be adding all of the same fish. I'm going to be adding a couple of the dwarf angels and stuff like that at the same time. But after that, there will be a slow, gradual introduction of other fish. I've got quite a lot of mature fish because I've had them for a while. My gem tang I've got a big gem tang, a big yellow tang, and mature fish are not the same as juvenile fish. Juvenile fish are a lot more tolerant of their tank mates. And when they grow up together, it's more peaceful, if you see what, usually, because there's a hierarchy set. Whereas when you're putting smaller fish and bigger fish all together, they don't like it so much. So I had to take I took a step back and I went, right, I'm going to do this slowly. There's no reason for me to go fast because it's been empty for 11 weeks. So what happens if it's got 1 fish for 2 weeks and then 2 fish 2 weeks later? It doesn't matter, does it? So that's the plan with that. Corals, perfect. Corals are doing fine in there. They've actually grown quite significantly. And interestingly, I had a coral which was basically dead. Like it was a really, really nice, like bright red Favia with yellow eyes. It's like, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like I can't remember, but it was basically, it looked like a piece of live rock, and I put it in there and it's completely come back to life. Okay. I don't know. I'm not. It was obviously it had too much light potentially in the coral farm where it was, or something was annoying it, so nipping it potentially like a copper band. But it's funny, you change tanks and it's like a new lease of life for this coral. It's like as vibrant as it was the day I got it originally. Mm-hmm. So that's, and the other corals have grown quite a lot in there. Part of me wishes that when I took the fish out, I put a load of coral in, but I didn't. I took a load of fish out and I was annoyed with it. So I just left it for 11 weeks and not done anything. So I will need to start putting coral in, but I'm just going to put the fish in and just wait. I'm just going to go very slowly, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
So it's still here. It's, as I said, the corals are fine.
When did you set that up?
Oh, don't even start. Don't even start. As I said, I didn't even remotely do it in a way I would have done it previously. I tried to go down a route that I wouldn't do it again. It was a very sterile tank, and I don't think that's the best way to go. If I did it again, I'd buy a load of live rock. I'd have no lights on, and anything that comes on live rock, usually you can deal with one way or another. Yeah. Because like usually the biggest issue with live rock is some sort of algae or an aptasia. Those are the two main issues with live rock. It's unlikely to get like flatworms or newt. It's not impossible, but it's unlikely. They're usually on corals. So the thing there, but algae and aptasia are easy to deal with in a big tank. Most tanks, unless you've got some sort of really like
stuff, freaky stuff.
Most tanks will eat the algae, and I have proven that I'm pretty good at keeping cough bands. So I'm not like a lot of people worry about keeping a cough band. I don't worry about
you. That's not an issue.
Yeah. So if I got aptasia in there, I would just put the cough band in, and it would be fine. So that's how I would do it. I would do it differently. And I think that was the reason I had massive success with all of my other tanks, because I started by buying like 200 kilos of live rock. It wasn't the same price back then. And put it in the tank and just, it was almost like instantly cycled because it had come from someone else's tank. I bought a tank breakdown when I first started. And it gave me a false sense of security with starting other tanks. Because you think that it's going to be the same, but it's just not. So that's definitely what I would do. But yeah, the tank, as I said, it's fine. And the more I will get, what happens with tanks is once you have a little bit of success, you start to enjoy it more, and it snowballs. So I will get more and more involved, and I'll start doing more and more videos on that, because I didn't want to do any videos because I'm tired of doing those videos.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I just thought I'm just going to do nothing for 11 weeks. And I get people going, "Are you dead? I've not seen a video for 11 weeks." And I could video the coral farm, but
you owe us a video, actually, don't you? Didn't you promise the people in the chat the other week?
It's a few weeks late. Anyway, so that's the Waterbox done. It's a very brief update. With regards to the coral farm, I found a new supplier of corals, which was they were pretty good, to be fair. I spent a ton of money, but I bought quite a lot of new corals, and because different suppliers have different things, they have different. They'll get them from different places potentially. I assume some suppliers say they have what's it called? Exclusivity with certain places. So I tried a new supplier, and as I said, I literally spent thousands and thousands. I was like, when you go to a good fish shop. For the first time, and you spend more than you usually would do. Yeah. Now times that by like 10. Yeah. Because that's what happens when you go to a new wholesaler. But yeah, that was good. That also added to my like.
Is this?
That is one of the ones from the new place. There's a few others on there from the new place as well.
The reason I pull that up is because I think that's the same as the Alvi that I got.
Possibly.
So that looks white on the photo, but is that pink?
It's pink,
in
yeah,
real
it
life?
is, yeah.
Yeah. It's a really nice one. So that's so the one I got is about half that size, but it was a bit less money. But it's really nice. It's really nice.
Yeah, sorry.
I was thinking about that the other day actually, because a lot of the shops get all their stuff from the same place, and so if you go to different shops, you'll see different things, of course. Yeah. But a lot of it is the same, and I did start to think it would be a good thing if there were more importers and more variety, basically. So that's interesting that you found someone new for you.
Yeah, and I think so. I think what happens, there's certain big players in the industry that buy huge amounts of coral from specific places, and then they distribute them to the shop. So a lot of, I might be wrong here, but this is what I kind of think. A lot of the shops have the same thing because they're using the same distributors, especially when I do an import. So if I do an import, the boxes that I get are exactly the same as the local fish shops. They're like identical. Literally like coral to coral coloration and everything. Whereas when you go to like different suppliers, I assume that they're going to different farms perhaps or whatever. I don't know. And some of it's also, in fact, quite a lot of this one, a huge amount of it was farmed. So it wasn't bought from, these are corals which I hadn't seen for a long time or on lists or anything. So a lot of it was farmed. So anywhere like that where when I can keep getting the same corals is good, because if I put it on the website and someone buys that coral, it's like I can just go and buy another one. I don't have to grow it myself, if you see what I mean. So it's ideal if someone is cultivating them for me, because that leaves the space in my farm to cultivate other things. So because that's the thing, like you're limited on space when you have a coral farm. You can't have everything. So that was good. And whenever I do these things, they sort of motivate you. It's like a snowball effect. They motivate you to do other things.
Yeah.
So I spoke to Alex before the live stream. One of the things that I am looking at doing, I looked at my website and I went, is this the best it can be? And I just thought it's not. The reality is it isn't. I do it through Shopify. It tells you at the bottom. There's no secret. It gets done through Shopify. A lot of people do them through Shopify these days. But the template I use, I'm not very tech savvy, I would say. Would you agree with that, Alex?
100%.
So I did the best I could, and I just thought it's not good enough. If I need to compete at the top level, there's certain things that I don't like about it, and I want to be better, because otherwise someone else will be better, and then people will buy from them. So there's a work in progress. It could take a little while to do, but I'm changing the website so that it's more user friendly. Even just things like drop downs and being able to, people can't even click collection. It's not even an option for me to be able to set up so I can have a collection option, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
People have to type collection into the discount code to remove the collection. That's the only way I can get around it.
Right. Okay.
To remove the delivery charge.
I see.
And I just thought, this is my main business. Like, it's nothing to, like, this is like a long-term thing. So if I have to spend a couple of £1,000 or whatever to get it done properly, maybe even a little bit more or whatever, then it's worth doing. What was I going to say? I might put a post out on Facebook saying, what would you change? Like, what about my website would people change? Just because they might go, we want a bit more information on some of the corals, because some of the corals it's a bit generic, the information, or anything. So it's just I would rather people told me what they thought than not told me, because if I'm just one person and I'm not experiencing buying from me, so it would be useful to get feedback. It's funny because you're the person who gives me feedback most of the time. Usually it's negative feedback.
Yeah, it's the most fun stuff.
But speaking of feedback, do you know what's interesting? Because you mentioned it on the thing. You know how I started selling on eBay recently? What I didn't think it would have this effect. eBay has a feedback option, doesn't it? And people leave feedback for me, and it's actually really, really rewarding to read. Going, I really like the coral you sent me, or they were really well packaged, or whatever. Because I don't normally get that. If you see what and like I don't need that either, just normally.
Yeah.
But it's like it's rewarding. So I've put up. There is 96 corals on eBay, which I think have just started to end tonight. My eBay experiment has, I would say, it's had some ups and downs. I will keep going for a little while just to see what it's like. But yeah, there's 96 which are ending at the moment. So, and the difference with eBay and the website is it's guaranteed sales. So it's nice to have a guaranteed sale. So I know that after this, I will have X number of sales potentially. So, whereas on the website, it's not quite like that. And also, it's some of it is the stuff that grows really, really quickly. So it gives me a way to process some of the corals which are like that grow too fast. So yeah, if anyone's interested in buying corals tonight, they are literally ending now. And there's some actually nice ones on there. I think I've got 3 or 4 Bugatti chalices on there at the moment. So, or different types of jelly bean chalice.
Get the smallest one because it'll be cheapest, and in 6 months' time it'll grow.
Yeah, you keep telling people that. No, tell them to buy the fanciest one, because then there'll be like a bidding war over it. So that is what's happening with the little eBay experiment. Is there anything you'd like? I'm just keep talking. So is there anything you'd like to interject at the moment?
Is there anything I'd like to interject? I probably should interject because we're going to run out of stuff to talk about if we're not careful.
Oh no, I'm still going. I got other stuff. So
and there's a bit of news actually as well. But I am going to interject because we've got a question from someone called Centropyge Collector, which I'm guessing is someone who likes dwarf angels. And he says, question for Ryan. He's got a tank of 23 dwarf angels and he wants to eventually make into a mixed reef. What corals have you had success with in your main tank? What would you recommend?
It's hard to say because I haven't had a huge amount of. I haven't had 23.
You didn't get
dwarf
to that point.
No. But to be fair, they didn't touch anything. They didn't touch. I think the only thing they may have touched was I've got a trachea in there that I've had for ages. But they didn't touch the alveopores. Your best bet is SPS corals. If you have an SPS tank, the chances are they won't touch it.
Yeah, I keep thinking about an SPS tank with a Regal Angel.
What do you mean the SPS with a Regal Angel? You've got what tank is that? Where are you putting that new tank?
Well, this is this would be if I was going to shut down the Red Sea 6-footer, strip it all out, and then fill it up with SPS corals. But that's not going to happen. It's just a pipe dream I have.
Why would you shut it down?
I'll shut it. I will, but at some point I'll shut it down when it's all grown out and it's looking amazing and I've completed it, mate. And then I'll. The plan is, in theory, my plan is because by that point I'll have had a 3 or 4 or 5 year break from acros. So my rough plan is fill it up with LPS corals, break them all down, sell them all off, and then I'll have the rockscape in place still. Although I'd probably have to hack some of that off to do it, and then start filling it back up with acros. So the tank is still a 5-year mature tank with all the biological goodness, so I don't have to worry too much, and then just chuck a ton more flow at it. A ton more. Oh, I might have to take the sand out. I don't know. I've not really worked it out properly, but that's kind of my loose plan.
It's interesting because I'm someone that will complete it and then just maintain it, fill it up so it all looks good. Whereas you're like, once it's full, nope, I'm bored. I need to strip it all down, start again.
Yeah.
But then you never. I've said this many times. A reef tank. This is a reef tank which is going well. It becomes boring after a while if you're not adding to it and you're just maintaining it.
Well, that's why the Cade is a little bit boring to me because it's going well, it's grown out nicely. I wouldn't say it's completed yet, and I still want to. In an ideal world, I would keep that tank for another year, and let it grow out completely. So I've finished it and then it's done. But because my previous tank, the Peninsula tank, that was I think I had that. It was I think it was 7 years I had it. Maybe it was just 5 years. I forget. Maybe 5 years. 5 is anyway. That kind of time, and that I kind of completed the tank, but because I sort of did rescapes 2 or 3 times, it was never completely finished. There were a couple of points when you would probably say it's finished, but I just always wanted to change things and all that. So
yeah, and so we sort of differ on that. I just like to. I like to very slightly. See, you probably would finish it you would fill the tank relatively quickly, whereas I had that 1,000 liter tank I had. It was almost like never finished because I just kept. I was very slow at adding stuff. I used to just add things like once a month rather than you where you go to the fish shop and you're like buy 3 or 4 corals in one go.
But I've been a lot slower with that lately because I only want the really nice stuff. Yeah. And what I tend to find is when you go in, and this is why I started thinking about varieties, because the shops I go into, some of them have got some variety, but a lot of the time it's like it's a green hammer or a gold torch, and it's just all the same stuff. And it's like I don't want that tank, the Red Sea one. I want that to be special. I don't want it to look like everybody else's, where it's got a barley green slimer and a red Monty, and I don't want it to look the same. So so I am going a bit slower, but probably not quite as slow as you.
Yeah, well, as I said, I just take my time.
Yeah.
With regards to other new corals, I found another supplier, but an importer. So I have always used the same importer for years and years and years, and I wanted to get some corals from Vietnam, and they don't supply from Vietnam, so that forced me to use another one. Now, Vietnam are known for having the best zoas. I don't know why, like how they became known, or maybe they just grow better there for whatever. But I spoke to a few people while I was trying to get some, and I said, "Oh, the reason I want this because zoas are the best from there." And they went, "Oh, yeah, they do have good zoas there." So I ordered basically a blind box of 20 zoa colonies, which are arriving on Tuesday. Now,
oh really?
They're not
got
cheap.
Some nice ones the other day.
I got some nice ones the other day.
You've said, I don't know if you've on your website, but you sent me photos.
Those ones, the shipment was cancelled. Those ones were coming from Indonesia. They were what you see is what you get, Carl. So I knew the ones that I was going to get.
Okay.
And I had a message from the importer saying that the second, so the corals basically go from one country to another country and then to here. Yeah. And the second flight was changed or cancelled for whatever reason, so they couldn't ship them. So I said, well, if you can't get those ones, find me some other ones. And then they have gone, well, we'll get you these ones for Tuesday. So
they were nice. They were really nice.
They were. And hopefully these ones are equally nice.
Yeah.
It's hard to... There's a few really nice ones around at the moment, like from the wholesalers have got some nice zoas in. And I'm like, I wish I had known that they were going to get them. They're obviously all getting them from the same place roughly at the same time. And I wish I'd known because I would have bought them from them rather than doing a blind one, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. Because
it's not cheap. It's a lot of money when you import corals, and you have no idea what's going to turn up. I don't know if it's going to be alive. I don't know if it's going to be brown. So it's just, that's a little insight into what it's like doing this. It literally just says mixed zoas. So your guess is as good as mine, but I've put the money down to buy them. Because if they're no good, people won't want them. So there's a little bit of gambling.
Probably be decent, or some of them, half of them will be decent, or whatever. Then you're not going to get a bunch of brown zoas, I would guess.
No, well, they said. I think, as I said, I ordered 20 colonies. 7 of them were red. So red zoas are usually quite nice. They're like red is like a vibrant color.
Right, red, yeah.
7 of them were mixed, and then 6 of them were like, I think, various shades of green, I think. But I just wanted to do a mixed box because they gave me the best chance of getting something nice.
Yeah.
But don't you worry. On Tuesday when they arrive, or maybe probably not Tuesday because they won't be open up, on Wednesday, I'll take pictures to show what they're going to be. But I've never really been into zoas, so I just thought this is a market that perhaps I should go into.
Yeah. I've got a lot of time for zoas. I'd like to do a zoa tank at some point as well.
I just can't imagine that it doesn't do very much as a tank.
That's the only thing. You don't get movement or whatever. They all kind of grip to the rocks, and I still think it would kind of look cool, but it might, and you might end up with one just taking over. So you just get it's not a zoa tank, it's an utter chaos tank. Central Pygie Collector said to have a look at the Top Shelf Aquatics website. They've changed it so their listings look live because they have little videos. That feels like time hungry activity, but
it'd be interesting to see. Like as I said, I'm looking for any options. I like I want to compete at the top level, which I think that I do, if you see what I mean, at this. But it's only a matter of time before someone else comes along and goes, right. Like there's a few main players in the industry. But if like you have to, if you're not innovating and you're not keep doing things differently, people soon will overtake you. So part of the reason I've got the Zoas in is actually for aqua, which I know is a long way away. I know it's a long way away. But I want to have an entire tray of just Zoas for there. That's because like I've got 4 tanks to fill. I'm probably going to have 2 with LPS in them, 1 large LPS section, or 1 with torches and frog spawns and hammers and stuff. 1 tray entirely of Zoas, and one of them will be probably. I will probably have some SPS there, but it wasn't a big seller last time. It wasn't. I didn't have a huge amount of SPS corals. I think part of the reason it wasn't a big seller was because the lighting just made them all look terrible. I'm not sure what it was, but if I've got different tanks, you can have different lighting set on each tank to make the corals look the best they can look. So,
okay, I'm just going to digress quickly. Grover Reefs asks, "How's my little Scully going?" It's going well. I've moved it from I first put it in the cage because I wanted to feed it, so I put it right at the top, so I could just put some food on it. And it was this stuff I've shown you before. It's Vitalis LBS coral pellets, 1.5 millimeter. And the last time I showed you this, I realised that this pot had expired, so I bought a new pot. So that's my new pot. So that's the stuff I feed it. Well, I've just put it into the sump of my Red Sea tank now. I don't quite feel brave enough to put it into the main display section of the Red Sea tank because I'm scared my my foxface will eat it, although he hasn't touched the other 2 Scullies I've got. But anyway, so it's in there. The trouble with that is it's the frag tank section, so the light's on very dim, but it's out of sight, out of mind. So I see it when I open up to do a water change and turn the skimmer off or something, and I'm like, oh, I must feed that. But it's looking really good. It's really puffy and fat and healthy. But I would like to be feeding it more regularly than I am. I would like to be feeding it. So.
It's just at all.
Yeah, at all. Like, I'm not going to be feeding it every day or whatever, but even if it was a couple of times a month, once a week, maybe
a month. You really are lazy.
But that's feeding a coral every day is just like target feeding it and shooing away the shrimp that's going to come over and try.
That's the problem. It's the shrimp.
Butt off the bloody angelfish who wants to eat the coral food and all that, and because you've got to turn all the flow off, of course. It's not like just feeding mysis where you chuck it all in. You've got to turn the flow off, and that will be off for 10 minutes. And realistically, you've got to be in the room for 10 minutes watching it. And I can do that occasionally, but I'm not doing it every day or 3 or 4 times a week. Got too much. Too lazy. It's good. I got too much on. I'm too lazy.
I sold obviously 3 of them. One of them I know is doing well because I've seen it, and I've got a consultation with the person who bought one of the other ones on Monday. So tomorrow I'll be able to ask how it's going. But he has
it's early days.
he has Scullies and Acanthophilia and everything. He's been doing it for a long time. So it's Rich's Reef actually. He's got the only reason he wants a consultation is because he's breaking his tank down, and he knows that obviously because he's moving house. So he knows that I did that. And it was one of the worst days of my life.
Yeah,
so he wants to know how to make it easier.
Sell all your nicest corals to Reef Dork, and it'll be just plain sailing from there on. So
true, you won't have to worry too much, will you? Or rent a space in the coral farm, expensive though, and I'll look after them for you.
Yeah. No, it's actually breaking down. I didn't find breaking down too bad, but it does take a bit of time. But I didn't find that too bad. But the trouble is you've got to, because when I broke down my Red Sea tank, it was 5 years old and it was acros. So when you start pulling out 3 or 4, that makes a big impact on everything basically, but particularly calcium and alkalinity. So if you pull out 4 2 or 3 kilo colonies, you've then got to be testing regularly to make sure you're not overdosing alkalinity and reduce, and that's quite difficult. And you'll do that 3 or 4 days in a row. So that was and if you're not careful, your alcohol spike and you'll have problems or whatever. So that was the thing that I found difficult, was continually monitoring everything. But apart from that, I managed to get it done relatively quickly and relatively painlessly.
That's what happened when I went to Aqua last year. Obviously, I took 1,000 corals out. Some of them were big corals. And I took them out and then left. And obviously, I had to try and guess because I couldn't test the water each day. And I was away for like 3 days? Friday, Saturday, and then back on Sunday evening. Yeah. So I was away for those days. And I'm like, I just hope that I have a guess how much to lower the the dosing by. Speaking of dosing, I had a very interesting conversation with someone today. Sometimes you meet people just through just events, not events, but I'm not sure why I'm saying this. Basically, I met one of my girlfriend's, one of her best friends, basically. And I was talking to her, and it turned out that she actually works for a water treatment company, like a serious water treatment company. That is actually, it's a family owned. Her father owns the company, possibly her as well. And the reason I know this is because she came into the coral farm today, not interested in any of the corals. The very, very first thing she went, "You got an RO unit on the wall." And I thought, hundreds of people have been to this coral farm. Not a single person has ever gone, "Oh, look at that RO unit." Now, interestingly, it turned out that they had actually supplied the RO unit to a shop that had, or whatever, that had, or a website. I can't remember where I got it from, and eventually it came to me. So I got talking to her, and they do.
Can you say the name of the company, or would you rather not?
I don't actually. No, I'd rather not. To be honest,
tell me after.
I know the name of it, but I'd have to ask. I can find out the name, but I don't know offhand. But it was just interesting because I was like, well, what do you say other than RE? They're like, oh, we do everything to do with water treatment, and I'm like, oh yeah. So she was really interested in the coral farm because obviously, like, they're doing it for like tap water and stuff like that, but we do it in a different way where we're trying to lower phosphates, for example, and things like that. And so I said to her, like what do you have? Because she was asking me what's inside the RE. That's how interested she was. And I was like, really, this is weird. But it turns out they had a load of carbon, for example. They have loads of carbon there. And I always thought that the best carbon you could get is made of coconuts. I was told this. I was told that there's different qualities of carbon. And I know Red Sea's one is made from coconuts, and they wanted when I spoke to them a long time ago, and she said to me, "Oh yeah, it's pretty common to have carbon made of coconuts." Now I thought that was a special thing. I remember doing a video going, the reason their carbon's different is because it's made from coconuts.
Oh, funny.
And she went, no, like you can get carbon which is way, way more efficient than that. It's just more expensive.
Yeah.
So I spoke to her, and I just thought, well, look, remember, this is a long, long way off. But I just thought, why couldn't I have my own range of products, if you see what I mean? Like, why couldn't I, like, if there's this special carbon that's available out there that is used in water treatment, and if it is reef safe, but it's more, I don't see why it wouldn't be, but it's more efficient, for example, why couldn't I get hold of that? And they even do like white label products. So it's like, I have someone who has the knowledge and the access, and they do white label products, if you see what I mean. So why wouldn't I do it? And it's not like I'm just getting the same product and rebranding it.
Yeah, completely.
It's supposedly, remember, I only had like a 2-hour like time.
You'd want to do a bit more vetting and all that sort of stuff. Or not vetting.
Yeah, supposedly it's different. It's like chemically different, and it makes it better, but I don't know why it makes it better. I didn't remember. I was with 2 other people, so like no one's interested in you talking about RO units and carbon when you're sitting having lunch. And then I spoke to her. I said, like, you must deal with chemical companies then, and she went, yeah, I deal with chemical companies all the time, all different chemical companies, to add things to water, to take things away from water. So it's almost like I go, I think there's a possibility there's something that could. Now remember, this is a long way away. But I've always wondered about having my own range of products. Now they might go, oh yeah, you can have your own range of products, but by the way, you have to buy 10,000 pounds of carbon. And I'll go, well, it's going to take me a long time to buy to sell 10,000 pounds of carbon. But I like the idea, and as I said, there is like a 1% chance this is happening at the moment. But before today, it wasn't really a possibility because I didn't have the know-how. And now after that, I've gone, well, for the first time, there's like an insight into what could be done potentially. So
you've got the advantage in that you'd have to do something differently rather than just, hey, it's just another product on the shelf. But you've got the advantage. You could say, if you use Prestige Reef Carbon, this is how you do it and make a video. This is how much you use. This is when you change it. You know, this is why it's different.
I will be completely honest with you. The YouTube channel is obviously, and you know this, is a massive advertising platform. There, like, if you like, where else can you get information these days? You can get it. There's 3 places really. There's forums, there is YouTube videos and magazines. So those are like the 3. I would say that YouTube videos would. Now, I'm biased, but would you say that they are more?
It's my go-to. It's if I actually start, because YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world behind Google. But actually, when I go looking for something, anything, I start in YouTube because I like to see it. And then if I have to go and read it, I'll go onto Google. So yeah, completely.
Now, if it's in a magazine, for example, if I did, let's say, if I did this carbon, just imagine this alternate reality where this was a possibility. If it was in a magazine, like, and someone wrote an article about this carbon and why it was different, after that month, it would be gone forever.
Yeah,
like,
completely. Yeah.
No, like, so unless they do an article each week on it, it's gone. Whereas when you do YouTube videos, they're there forever. I don't feel like I'm utilizing it to the best of my ability. I do. Don't get me wrong. I do use it for advertising, of course, and it does work well. But I'm someone who always wants more. I want a better. I'm not sure what more is right. It's hard for me to get the words out. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
Like, I go, well, I'm sure there's something else I can do from this. There's something more. So
I feel like you've kind of set your platform with Prestige Reef, and now you want to build an empire.
Yeah, basically. So, and there's nothing to stop me from going, well, why couldn't I have other products, food, dosing stuff? I don't want to go into the tank. I wouldn't want to go down that market, if you see what I mean, because they're like, that's like a one-time sale. And I know it's a big sale, but why couldn't I go down? I do like tank maintenance and stuff like that. There's all these things that could be done. And I know I couldn't do the tank maintenance for everyone, but you could have a team of people that do their own tank maintenance that could maintain my customers as subcontractors. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's so much more that can be done. And when I'm really into it, like I am at the moment, like I'm really into the farm at the moment, I had the day off on Saturday. When I say day off, I had the day off from Rachel, which is a weird thing to say. I had a day to myself is what I meant. So I could do anything. And I actually considered sending you a message going, do you want to go to the fish shop? And I thought, actually, what I really want to do is just spend the entire day in the farm cutting corals. And I absolutely loved it. Like, I had such a good day on Saturday. And I'm just like, this is my job. And this is what I want to do in my free time. So when I feel like that, I go, well, what more can I do? And that's why I've immediately gone, right, let's sort the website out. Let's do some more, basically. You're right. I want to build an empire. And it might take me a few years to get there, but I have more chance of building an empire than other people because I have that advertising platform. So, and I think that people would hopefully want to support that. They would want to be able to see me grow, because that's what happened with the coral farm. Like, people were saying, stop teaching us about how to keep corals. Why don't you start selling them to us?
Yeah.
So that's why
people would want to support you. It's funny because so you were talking about the reviews that you were looking at earlier. I looked at last week as well. I looked at my Etsy reviews, and I get I think my Etsy rating is 4.9 out of 5, and it's partly because I'm selling to people who want to support me. When you go on, there's a Facebook group for Etsy sellers, and there's people are always complaining about issues they're having. Actually, part of it is because people don't deal with customers very well when things go wrong, but part of the people are always complaining about issues they have, and I don't get those issues because I'm selling to people who they're not just buying something, they're buying mostly because they want this thing, but also partly because it's Reef Dork, I know him, so it's so you get that people do want to support you. And
I've always wanted, and I actually looked into this early on, like at the very, very beginning, having my own brand of fish food. This was when I had like 3,000 subscribers or whatever.
I think you've said that before, yeah.
I've always wanted, and I found someone to manufacture it. But again, I want something that is actually legitimately different. I want there to be a 100%. Reason that it's like, if we're starting to realize that fish need algae in their diet, for example, and like, this is just, I'm just winging this. And most diets, most of the pellets are mainly just fish and whatever ground up and then dried. if you did that and added algae, is that a possibility? Would that help their digestive system, or would that not work? It has to be fresh.
There's various options for that out there, but you're going to be able to do something. And I'm glad you've said do it differently, because if you're just going to bring another one to market where it's just a different label on a bottle or a different label on a box or whatever, it's just it's great, but that's pointless. But if you're trying to do things differently and add value to it, then it's not just you're not just going to get people who are like, oh, I want to support Prestige, I like him.
Do you know the reason I'd want to do that as well? And people keep you. I actually think some YouTube people keep you accountable, because if you went, oh, I've got this new product, this is amazing, someone would come along and go, this is exactly the same as this, but it's just been rebranded. You see what I mean? So I actually want to go, this is better for this reason.
Completely. Yeah, completely. Well, what's the point? If you're not going to move the game along, what's the point? And and that's the thing. You get people going from, oh, I like Ryan, I want to support him, to, oh, I like that sounds good, I want to buy that. Oh, it's from Ryan. Cool.
Yes, because it has to be the product that sells. But
100%.
My biggest issue is that I don't have the knowledge myself with regard to these things. I need other people's influence to be able to go, look, I can do the selling. I need you to design the product, and it will. Do you see what I mean? It's like
there's one thing that's popped into my head.
Oh.
This is how Vibrant started.
Is it?
Yeah, because basically,
don't say that.
Underwater Creatures went to approach. I think BRS Ryan was talking about this recently, and they approached the company, or they were approached by a company who make the stuff, and so they actually the Underwater Creatures didn't know all about what was in it, all this sort of stuff, and this other company dealt with it. So you've got to be really careful on your due diligence, but I'm sure you would be, but and it's different with food, I guess, but nonetheless, there's like, if someone comes along to you and says, hey, this is the best activated carbon, nobody else uses it, you're not the kind of person to go, oh great, I'll sell it. You'd be like, well, hang on, why is no one else use it if it's so great? So
I was far more naive originally when I said I wanted to create a different food, and I'd spoken to, as I said, to people about making it for me, and I didn't really know what I was doing. They came back saying, look, we can do this for you, but it's going to be this many thousands of pounds to do, and also there is a sell by date on this food, and you have they didn't say this, but I was like, well, I've got 3,000 followers, so I'd spend thousands of pounds on something which expires. I don't have enough people to sell it to.
Well, it's better. I'm glad you've held back anyway, because you're probably not quite as green now as you were then, so you won't make the mistake.
I think you mature as you get old. You when you're younger, you think you can do basically anything, and then as you get older, you go, you should probably think about these things a bit more.
Consequences.
But I don't know. As I said, this is just for all the people listening. This is just two mates having a chat about their day, basically.
Yeah.
Like there's every possibility that nothing will come from this, but at least people know that that's where my mind is. What happens is I get bored, and it's like, and go, well, what's the next challenge that I can have? Like, what's the next thing that will make me feel like alive? And possibly having my own brand of something would do that. I mean, look at who's the guy in Canada? He's got like the Reef Casa tanks, and they're shipped all over the world and things.
Fragbox.
Fragbox. Yeah. So why would it not be possible for someone else to do it?
Nice little tanks there.
Yeah.
Trav's just interjected and said you could be an EcoFlow dealer for aquarium backup systems too.
I don't know who EcoFlow are, so that's not a good start, is it?
So I have an EcoFlow. I'm going to make a video if you want to know about my EcoFlow battery. I'm not using it for the tank. Go on.
Is this the people that were Aqua? No.
EcoFlow are a Chinese American company, half Chinese, half American. They make battery backups basically, and but they're not really for fish tanks. So you can use them in a fish tank, but that's not what they're for. But the one I've got, if you want to know, I'm going to make a video on it soon. You have to follow me on Average Biker YouTube channel, because it's about running a a shed with an EcoFlow solar generator. But there are a couple of things that I wanted to point out on that, and I'll talk about this in the video, but no one will watch it because no one wants to watch me prattle on about motorbikes, and certainly no one wants to watch me prattle on about sheds. But the two things that are worth noting: one, with EcoFlow, they have an influencer program whereby they give you, it's like commission same with Amazon basically. So actually, did I put that in the news for Amazon? No, I didn't. I need to put that in the news. Amazon affiliate, because there's an update on that. Anyway, so they have an influencers program and an affiliates program like that. And I didn't realize that until I went digging recently to find. I was trying to find a contact email for them because I wanted to ask them if they'd send me something for a project I was going to do and make a video on. They didn't ever get back to me. But what I found was they have a couple of. Sometimes they'll just send you a thing and then there you go, you make a video on it. That's it. But there are other times when they have this influencer program. So if you ever see an EcoFlow video, and I'm not saying it's people in our hobby or whatever, but wherever you see it, if there's a link in the description, there's a chance that's an affiliate link, because I've seen loads of them just like on like solar generator YouTube channels, and they don't ever say, oh, by the way, there's an affiliate link. And they might not be affiliate links, but every time I see that now, I think, is that an affiliate link? Are you on commission? Is that why you're saying these are awesome? Anyway, the other thing is, the one thing that I didn't realize when I bought this, it's a massive battery backup. The one thing I didn't realize is it has an inverter that keeps it running. And if you just leave it on standby, so it's you don't plug anything into it, it's just sat there ready, it uses 20 watts constantly. And so in 4 days, it will drain itself completely, even if nothing is plugged into it. So 25, and the one I've got is a 1 kilowatt hour battery. It uses 25% of its capacity just sitting still.
You have to remember you're talking about batteries, so all of a sudden I like zone out a little bit, and you're talking to me going, yeah, like this is really exciting. I'm like, nah.
It's surprising. And anyway, we'll move on. We'll talk about fishing corals because no one cares. So
interesting. See, Grover's Reef said, can you mince up seafood from the supermarket for fish food? That's basically, I'm not saying this is exactly correct, but there's a company in America called Rod's Food. And that's basically what they do. They make really, really like nutritious food for fish. We don't have that over here. I'm not sure I'm in the like mincing seafood up business for myself. Not sure how my partner would feel if I'm just like, grinding up like scallops or whatever in the kitchen.
Using her smoothie maker.
Yeah. I don't know if she'd like that very much. But
the answer is you can do that. And there are plenty of people who do. I think you've probably got to be a little bit careful with what, but if it's all unprocessed with what you get, but yeah, you can do that. And a bass who I did a tank tour on recently, go and check out, in fact, Grover's Reef, go and check out the video I did. It was a bass. I can't remember what it was. It was a tank tour I did a couple of months ago. It was an old school SPS tank. And you can skip along, there's chapters along the bottom of the video. It shows you where he makes his own food. And he talks through a little bit about what he does and what he chucks in there. You can do. There are loads of people who've done it, I'm sure.
Yeah. So we have the Prestige Reef chunky fish food eventually. Who knows?
Yeah.
That's
how BRS started. BRS wasn't the chili stuff, the Reef chili, their first product.
Was it? I didn't know that.
I think so. I might be lying. Sorry.
Yeah, there's loads of things. The biggest issue I have, I could easily do the dosing stuff that I do. Like I could easily do that because obviously I measure out, mix up myself. I buy all the raw materials. I don't know what to put on the bottles. That's the thing that I don't know.
Big picture of your face.
No, I'm talking about there must be some regulations about selling products. And it's interesting because I've looked at other products and they don't have them on there. But if I'm selling sodium like bicarbonate or whatever, if someone gets that in their eye, I mean, this is a low level, probably not risky one. So if you see what I mean. But what about the calcium one? If someone gets that in their eye, that's serious, which means you have to have some sort of label on the bottle. And I don't know how you go down. Is that something that has to be tested and approved? Or is that something that's simple, just put a label on it saying irritant? Yeah. Don't, if you put it in your eyes, wash your eyes out.
This is why you're saying that there's a 1% chance, because you've got a lot of hoops to jump through before you get
yes, there is a lot of things to do. But yeah, it could be called Ryan's Special Juices. There you go.
Oh dear, that's disgusting. There you go, Ryan's Special Juices. Ah, God, disturbing, Dan.
Nice. But that, I would say, is probably it with regards to my week in reefing. I feel like I have done my bit.
Hour and a quarter. You've saved us. So that's good.
So,
well, there was no. There was. Oh, actually, do you know what? I'm going to keep that for the news. I was going to tell you something else, but there's something we're going to keep that.
Just quickly. That's interesting. Their first products were bulk 2-part, so that's what they were selling. That's why they're called bulk reef supplies.
Stop. Yeah, where's it? Where's the thing? Yeah, yeah. That's probably right. But like I said, never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Oh, is that what you? Okay.
It's one of my favourite sayings. I love that. Anyway, right, we're going to do member questions. The first one is from Edward, who's asked. I'm going to paraphrase here, but he's asking if I'm going to get the new Red Sea Gen 2 stuff. So the lights and the return pump, I think it is. And he said he seems like nobody's touching it at the moment, and wonders if it's basically paraphrasing, but he was saying, is it that YouTubers are saying, no, I don't want it? Or is it, or why is it not out there? Why is it not out there already? And are the pumps less noisy than the Gen 1 ones? So I would be surprised if it's YouTubers from my point of view. I would be surprised if YouTubers are saying, well, no, I don't want that, because that doesn't tend to happen.
Yeah,
there are lots of, like, if I don't need something, I don't want something, I'll just say no. And I think you're the same. But I think mostly this would probably be a lot of companies, Red Sea, everybody, are very selective and very careful, because as soon as they give their product to someone else who makes videos, you don't know what that person's going to say. So yeah. If I was controlling how YouTube works, I would make every company just pick 5 or 10 YouTubers and send them the new stuff all the time, ideally about a month ahead of release, so they can play with it. And then you've got an embargo, and that embargo date ends on the 1st of June, and so everybody can upload the video at the same time, and all that sort of thing. And then the other thing with that is that if there's 5 or 10 people who've got it, they will each hold each other to account, because if 9 people say this is absolutely fantastic, there's nothing wrong with it, and the other person says this is total garbage, what are you doing? And suddenly you're going to look like an idiot if you've not pointed out the bad things. So that is the way I would like it. I think that benefits everybody. That does the hype thing that the brands want, but it also gives a more rounded view that the hobbyists want. And you'll learn more by watching 2 or 3 videos. It doesn't have to be 5 or 10. It could be 2 or 3. But anyway, that's my understanding, is really that companies are very selective, and they don't do that. They don't send stuff to everybody. So
they can't be that selective, because Red Sea. I didn't realize this at the time. They asked me to come to Nuremberg. They flew me to Nuremberg to film the release of their new products. This was in 2018, I think. I think I was the first person to release the protein skimmer, the lights, the dosing pump hadn't even been made. It was just a prototype, I think, at the time. And I was the first person to show that. And I didn't realize that I was the one I assumed there would be loads of people.
Like I said, selective. They chose the best, Ryan.
No, I don't know. So they kind of, if they picked me, they can't have been that selective. But it was just, it was interesting to see the release of a product that no one had done before. It was like it was a big reveal. So,
but there you go. I think it's probably that they're not sending them to everybody. I don't know if. I'm presuming you've not had any contact.
No, but to be fair, I'm not known for being someone that does product reviews, am I?
But I have the return pump. I'll do a proper review on it in I don't know, maybe a month or two's time, probably a month, because I feel like I've got the measure of it already, more or less. So I'll save the chat. I want to talk about it in detail and noise levels, that sort of stuff. So I'll save that for then. But I don't have the lights, and I've already got the Gen 1 lights. I've only had them for a year. So but I've not seen any popping up. I think I like it when you get half a dozen YouTubers. I get bored watching the same video over and over again, but I do like seeing new stuff come out and seeing a bit more detail, because if you just get the marketing video, from the company. Or sometimes shops upload videos on Facebook, don't they? But at the end of the day, they're trying to sell you stuff. So I prefer seeing lots of YouTube videos. But no, I don't have any inside information to share with you on that. But it's probably because Red Sea are being selective in the same way that AI, ecotech, everybody is selective. So.
And they didn't pick either of us.
No, indeed. So. Edward is another question for Edward. He says, I don't know if it's the same one, actually. I'm telling myself I need to master my current system before upgrading or getting another. What mind tricks do you use to stop yourself? Yeah, I mean,
use any.
No, I get bored and I want to change things and mess around. The main reason that I'm not upgrading the Cade right now is because I want to see that grown out. Because a half grown out tank that's fine, but there's nothing like a proper grown out tank. And even though the corals in that tank are pretty average, when it's properly grown out and they're all full size colonies, it'll look fantastic. So that's the incentive for me with that. But I get itchy feet. Ryan doesn't. How do you stop yourself, Ryan? You just don't care.
I just don't. Yeah, I'm not someone that makes sort of impulse, and I'm pretty happy with what. Like, I'm happy with the things I've got at the moment. I'm happy with the lights, happy with the pump, unless something breaks, I don't want to change it.
I think he's talking about the overall system. I'm talking about tank, not necessarily equipment.
Yeah.
I'm telling myself if I need to master my current system before upgrading or another. Yeah, so I think he's saying this whole tank, how do I not scrap that and buy a new tank and set it up again? Yeah.
Nah, just do it. If your tank's too small at the beginning, just do it. Let's put it this way. If it's fully grown out, it's going to be more painful. That I'm encouraging you, basically. So come my call.
The longer you have a tank, the more stuff you learn. Because there are things that happen in year 2 and 3 that don't happen in year 1 that teach you. So the longer you can hang on to, and then you start getting different problems that you've not seen before. So it's actually a really good way of learning is to keep a tank for a little while. Because if you just keep setting up and moving on after a year, you'll only learn what a tank is like in the first year. You don't learn all the other problems. So ultimately, if you want to upgrade, but there's real value in sticking with a tank for a long period. But don't listen
to him, just do it.
My first tank I did get bored with after a point. And I was like, you know what? I just want to go bigger. And then when you go bigger, you implement all the things that you've learned first time around, and then you make more mistakes, and then you go bigger again, and you do the same.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, so I got obviously to 1,000 liters was the size of the display tank that I like. But before that, I had a tank crash, and that's what made me move to a bigger tank. I was like, right, I've learned player lessons. Like, I needed a month to recover from the tank crash. I can't even remember what happened. That was when there was a 4-hour power cut and it killed all the fish. Because I had really big tanks. I had no battery backup. This was really, really early. This was like probably 17 years ago now. And that's what I was like, right, like a phoenix out of the ashes, I'm going to make this better than it was before. And it was so much better. So the chances are your new tank, which you will definitely be getting now, because I've encouraged it, will be even better than the one you've done now. So you'll be happy, and you can send me a thank you. I got Alex a bigger tank, didn't I?
You did, yeah, you bastard. 6 foot. Yeah, I didn't think I was going to pull that off. Something I've just jumped into my head as well. I bought one of these. What this is? This is a battery backup. Sorry, Ryan. And you can use this. You can plug and play. This is the exact same as the Ecotech one, but it's lithium ion. So it's much smaller and much lighter and much cheaper as well. So this is plug and play. It's exactly the same. You don't need any clever wires or cables or whatever. You can just plug that into any of your Ecotech power heads, and it's back on Amazon. If you want the link, I've made a video about this, but if you just search on the top right corner here, Talent Cell Mini UPS battery backup, they're back on Amazon and they're 60 quid. They went off Amazon for a while, but they're back. £66.59. And they're really good. I really like them. They're lithium ion, so you need to replace them, I don't know, every 3 years or something, but they're tiny compared to the Ecotech one. I really like them. It doesn't work with Neros, no, correct. It only works with 12 volts, and all AI Neros are 24 volts. And the battery backup port on the Ecotech is 12 volts. Look at Ryan's face.
Painful. Painful.
We'll move on. Another member question.
It's like my kryptonite. As soon as you start talking about batteries or pumps or flow rate, I'm just like, why? I'm here for the fish and coral.
Yeah. Thanks. Anthony Holland says he's awaiting delivery of a new tank upgrade. It's a Reef 255 litre. So I was just wondering what your thoughts are on the brand. Do you know anything about Reef Ryan?
I have never heard of them.
So these are, I looked these up the other day when I saw the comment, and these are from Aqua One. And I had an Aqua One. Go away. I had an Aqua One tank a while ago, and I think you see these in. I think there's one of these in Maidenhead, Southampton. I think they're really nice. Basically, they're very simple. Like if you look at the latest tanks from Red Sea, Cade, and Waterbox, Red Sea and Waterbox in particular, because I don't know what the plumbing's like on the new Cade, but the plumbing's really nicely designed. There are removable filter sock trays. They've thought of them through well, and they're clever systems. This is a lot more basic. It's just a tank, some pipes, and a sump. But that's kind of a good thing as well, because it's just there's no messing around with all sorts of clever stuff. It's just there's a section for your filter, a section for your return pump, and then that's it. And they're good. They're nice. I like them. And they come in the cabinets come in different colors, which look cool.
Reef Dork approved.
Reef Dork approved. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've never had one of these particular ones. I had one of the smaller ones, but they look totally fine, and I think they're a nice little tank. So yeah, enjoy.
There you go.
Next question is from The Crusade, who says, Alex, someone told me you're hosting a bike meet at Aqua H.
Oh, yeah.
Remind
me at the end after I need to talk to you about that, because I need something from you. And I don't want to wait till last minute.
Okay, fine. I'm almost certainly not, unfortunately, because I'll need space that I can only get from a car. And I don't want to fall asleep.
Other bikers can turn up, and then you can appreciate their bikes.
Yeah, good. Oh, nice.
You can be like a wannabe biker.
Oh, I like your GS. Yeah.
No idea what I mean.
It's boring old man's bike that I want myself, because I'm a boring old man. But yeah, there we go. Come along, please. That'd be wicked to have. I will come out and I could do an average biker video.
So you are hosting a meet. There you go. It's now official. Yeah. Actually, just quickly, speaking of Aqua, and I know Ed listens to this, and I know they contacted you. Like, Ed, come on, it's time to get your stand sorted. I want Reef Keeper there.
It sounds like they're going to be there, but he was a little bit less committal when I spoke to him. But I think he is going to be there.
When did you speak to him?
A couple of weeks ago.
See,
a few weeks ago.
The reason that I signed up originally, Ed, was because I had pressure put on me on this live stream. So this is me officially putting pressure on you to join in. And Alex is also putting his pressure on you, and to come along. So there
we go. Next question is from Tom Bishbosh, who says, not really a question, but I wanted to get your opinions on the accuracy. I really like this. This is worth talking about. It's the longest question ever. Okay. So bear with me. I wanted to get your opinions on the accuracy and how quickly the Hana Salinity Checker, which is the little pen, goes out of range, i.e. how often it requires calibration. I calibrated my Hana Checker after 1 month of owning it, and I started getting odd readings less than 2 weeks after doing so. I use it daily, and I always rinse it with RO as per the instructions. I went to do a 25-litre water change this weekend, and after using a kilogram of salt to mix, it was reading 1.020, which I knew had to be wrong. To a quick sample, took a quick sample to my LFS. They read it as 1.029, which also sounds wrong to me. But anyway, I was quite frustrated and actually ended up buying a Milwaukee digital refractometer, which is a good choice, and some distilled water for a combined 140 quid, which has been fantastic. I would say for the 1.5 times price of the Hana Checker, if you want reliability, definitely buy it. I watched the BRS video with Ryan and Thomas talking about the different categories of salinity checkers, and it just seems that the tech the Hana uses seems to be out of range and all. Okay, but it's basically all that. Okay, so there's more of that, but basically it's this the Hana digital salinity pen and versus its rivals. The really good video to watch on this is actually from Aaron's Aquarium, future live stream guest Michael Aarons, who made a live stream. I think it was one of the first live streams he did, maybe even the first ever live stream. So if you go onto, it's now called, what's it called? Michael Aarons. If you search Michael Aarons on YouTube, and you'll find his live stream with Jake Adams, and that was fantastic. Jake went into it's a bit of a difficult watch because it was his first live stream, so like it wasn't as slick as you might hope, but stick with it because there are some really useful insights from Jake on salinity testing and that sort of stuff. The issue with the Hanna digital salinity pen is well worth raising. So I thought about making a video on that. We've talked about it loads on the live stream, but I might make a video about it at some point. I don't know if it's a good idea, but those pens.
Yeah, cease and is it? Was it a cease and something
cease
letter?
and desist? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
yeah. I you know what I'm like. I'm fair. I'm always fair. I'm never going to say anything that's outrageous. But so I had, after about 18 months, mine just went out of whack, and I found that it was giving, even I would calibrate it, test immediately, and it was still giving wrong readings. So after about 18 months, I still got it because it's handy to have, not to use, but if I need it in a video or whatever. So I've still got it. I'm throwing it away, but I don't ever use it anymore because I don't trust it. And lots of people have had the same issues because that's the type of device it is. It's reliable enough to a degree, but it has limitations, and some of them will be fine for years. And I know local fish shops that use them regularly because they're so easy and convenient, and they don't have issues with it. So I'm not saying that if you buy one, it's going to break after a year or a month or whatever, but there are limitations with it. And if you buy like I did, the Hanna digital refractometer for £4,500 or however much it cost me, I think it's
more than the Milwaukee one.
But I think it was about 400 quid. I can't remember. Or the Milwaukee one, they are in theory a better technology because it's a refractometer. It's just a digital one, like the old optical ones that you like do the old dance with. But the only thing with those is that they are plus or minus 2 parts per thousand. So if it says 33 parts per thousand, it might be 35, it might be 31, might be 33. So they're not mega accurate. And really, at the end of the day, that's what I use, is the Hanna one. And if you get a bottle of Julian Sprung Accuracy, it will tell you exactly the salinity of that, so you can test it. You can't calibrate it, but you can test it. So if the Julian Sprung stuff says it's 35 and your Hanna checker, your Milwaukee checker is reading 35, and this is only for the refractometers, not for the digital pen, then you know it's right. But the answer to testing salinity is either use an optical refractometer from either Red Sea or DD. Those little things that you do that and you try to find enough light and they're a pain in the ass, you can't see it properly. Or get a bobbing hydrometer, not a swing arm hydrometer. Do not touch swing arm hydrometers. They're better than nothing, but that's it. A bobbing hydrometer, which is Tropic Marin sell a bobbing
massive
hydrometer.
Like they're not like these little ones, they're huge.
Yeah, they're 18 inches long roughly.
I've had 3 of them and I've broken all 3 of them.
Yeah, they're a bit of a pain in the ass to use. But they're good. But the best device, the best salinity tester for most people is an optical refractometer from DD or Red Sea. And I'm not kissing up to any company. I'm not on commission. They've never sent me one. Those are the best ones to get, because there's a difference between some of them are, if you buy a cheap one on Amazon, it might be brine, not seawater. And seawater is very important that it's seawater, not salt water, because there is a difference. And if it's salt water, does that mean it's brine? Because it's the calibration is different. You want seawater specifically, which is why it's worth getting the one. I know they're 50, 60 quid. I don't know how much they are now. I've been a while since I bought one, but it's why it's worth getting a proper one from DD or Red Sea. And that's the answer for almost everybody. It's cheaper than these fancy digital ones. It's reliable. You can test it with the Julian Sprung stuff. You can calibrate it with RO water or distilled water, which a lot of people do, or you can use the Julian Sprung stuff, which is probably the better way to do it. You can't go wrong. Can't beat it.
There you go. I'm just hanging in there.
This is
less exciting than talking about flow rate refractometers.
But we've talked about salinity quite a lot.
Yes.
Because we've both had issues with that Hanna pen, because on the face of it, it's brilliant. And
to be fair, I still use mine. But I do it when I do a water change, and I put it into the water for the tank, and I put it into the water change tank and go, are they the same? Because if they're the same, it doesn't matter, does it? As long as they're in the
I don't even trust it to do that anymore. But yeah. That's because at the end of the day, though, I know if I use Tropic Marine Pro Reef Salt, and I know that if I for the tank up here, the K tank, I do a 25-litre water change. I measure out because there's a 25-litre mark on my barrel. I pour out 25 litres, and I know that if I had 950 grams, that's going to be, I can't even remember what it's, 34 parts per thousand, whatever. That's going to be the right level. So I don't even bother checking. I measure out 950 grams. I sling it in. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. Anyway, we'll move on. That was the last member question, which means it is time for the news.
Out of interest, how many episodes have we done?
91. This is 91.
And how many times have we done Fish of the Week before the news?
I've undone the news. Ryan, what's the Prestige Reef Fish of the Week?
I've gone for a more unusual one. This is actually a fish that I have. It's not necessarily unusual because you see them pretty commonly.
I've got a great photo of this Fish of the Week.
It's a fish that I've actually had myself, and it is a snowflake eel. Why is that a great photo?
Look, it's munching on something.
I was like, what is that doing? It's like stretched.
It's like, there's one of it eating a squid as well.
Now, I have had a snowflake eel, and really? I'll be honest with you, it was great having a snowflake eel. They're one of those fish which has loads of character to them. Not so much when they're in the rock, but when they're out swimming around and eating. They're one of the fish that have really. Let's put it this way: if you look at that, or you look at like an Anthias, which one is which one's more interesting? Yeah. There's only really two sort of semi-reef safe. They're not reef safe with inverts. Eels that you can add. Well, technically there's maybe three, but mostly two really, which are the snowflake eel and the zebra eel. And I just like, if you've got a fish only tank or a it sounds terrible, not too serious reef tank potentially. That might offend some people. But you know what I'm saying. If you're worried about how high your nutrient levels are going, no, if you're worried about how high your nutrient levels are going because you want to keep them really, really low, a snowflake eel is not for you probably. If you're worried about if it's going to move rocks around because you need to have all your rock work like glued together, if it's not glued together, probably not for you, a snowflake eel. If you want to keep shrimp and crabs, probably not for you. But snowflake eel they're an interesting fish and I like them. So cool, if I was going to have a species only tank, or like not a species only tank, like a fish only tank, I'd get eels in it. So, and I actually would consider a golden dwarf moray, but you can't get them so easily anymore because they're from Hawaii, and I think there are some other places, but they used to come from Hawaii. I think I would have one of those for the Waterbox. So
yeah, okay, interesting. They're cool.
Did you know that they have? I don't know about these ones, but morays have two jaws.
Like an alien with a little.
Yeah, so the jaw comes out the back of the mouth, grabs the food, and then pulls it in, and the other mouth closes over it. So, but I'm not sure if that's those because they have more grinding plates, I believe, rather than like teeth, like green morays, for example. But they have a sort of a third jaw. There you go.
There's a scene in Family Guy that's maybe they do Alien and it's like, I likes to eat you with my little mouth too. Never mind. What's the Prestige Reef Coral of the Week?
I have gone for a blue hydronophora. The reason I've gone for this is because this is actually one of the new corals which I picked up.
It's on dollars on your website.
It shouldn't be in dollars. Are you using a?
Nope.
No, that's weird because I don't know why it would be in dollars.
Anyway.
Because it's not in dollars. It's not in dollars for me. Let's put it that way. So it must be your computer. But a few other people have had that issue where it comes up in dollars for some reason, but it's because they're using it. Is it VPN? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I don't even use that. But anyway, tell us about blue hydronophora.
So the blue hydronophora. I picked it as a coral of the week this week because I originally thought that I thought it actually was a galaxia when I first saw it. Okay. Because it doesn't grow like other hydronophoras. It grows sorry. There you go. You think the coral person would know how to pronounce it. They're very stingy. They basically sting anything that comes near them. And this one grows out as a plate, but it's also really, really blue. It's far more blue than that picture. So when I saw it, I was like, I have to have it. So I bought one big piece for me, and I bought 4 or 5 little pieces for the website. So let's put it this way: if I'm buying it for myself, either I have terrible taste in coral, or it looks better than that picture.
I hope it looks better than that picture.
Because Alex doesn't like it.
I would not buy that in a million years. If you sent me that for free, I'd be like, oh, thanks.
Thanks for helping me sell coral.
Yeah, no worries. But you assure me it looks better than that photo.
I personally believe it looks better. But look, we all know you have weird taste in fish and coral. So what can I say?
This is true. EIY Kumar says, do all eels give you electric shocks? I'm pretty sure it's just electric eels, which you don't see in the hobby.
Yeah. I'm not even, are electric eels actually eels?
I don't know.
But no facts here. Someone will tell us.
No. All right. Anything else you want to talk about before we do the news, Ryan?
No, we can do the news. Go. Just quick, I have the first piece of news for you. I just Googled it. Electric eels are not, in fact, eels. Why? They're a type of knife fish. There you go.
Oh, really? Interesting. Yeah. There you go. Right. First thing I'm going to do is Aaron's Aquarium, a future guest on the live stream. Hi, Michael. I'm going to keep saying it until you come on, so you might as well get it over with. Rip the Band-Aid off. Great. He released a video this week, a couple of days ago, with his first update on his new tank. So he's got a tank, he's got fish in it, and he started.
He's also thinking about coral. I spoke because I can see who goes on the website.
Oh, funny.
And I saw he was on the website. I can't see who goes there exactly, but it comes up if people have an account. I can see if they've been on their account. Okay. And they came out saying, "Oh, Michael Aarons has been looking at your coral."
And I said, because he was talking about it, and I was wondering if he was going to get in touch with you.
Did he talk about it? So I haven't seen the video.
He didn't talk about your coral specifically, but he talked about corals, and I was like, interesting.
Yeah, he looked at something. I was like, oh, Michael, look, don't buy it through the website. You get in touch with me. I'll FaceTime you. I'll do there's better corals than the ones you're looking at, I can assure you.
Blue hydrophora, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sure he won't mind that. He won't mind I mentioned that he was interested in corals. The funny thing was, I sent him a message saying, I can see you've been on the website. He went, what happened to GDPR? So, and I'm like, we're friends. It's okay.
Yeah. But his video is interesting. If you've not seen it, it's worth checking out. He's got some interesting insights because he's been away from the hobby for a while, and he's come back and he's kind of reflecting and doing things very differently. It's interesting to see. So check it out. And you'll be able to watch him on this live stream soon. So don't need to watch his video at all, actually thinking about it.
That's true. Did it feel like, as I said, I probably will have a look at it because I used to watch his ones previously. I'm not sure I'll be a long-term follower because I don't follow anyone, do I? Don't get offended. I know you get offended when I talk about other YouTubers. So I have to put that clarification in. I probably won't be a long-term follower. But did it feel like the old videos? Was it?
No.
Oh, it didn't feel like the old videos?
No. Just,
why not?
Yeah, just much more sedate and... but he's mellowed a bit, I think, in his old age.
Yeah, but that was part of the fun. He used to be like this, not outrageous, but
what's going? Yeah, he's still got a bombastic personality, if I can put it that way. Yeah. But we all mellow a bit as we get a bit older, and I think he's a bit more, just a bit more mellow, I think.
Yeah, I saw a video.
It's not like he's stoned and half asleep on the sofa.
To be fair, I saw a video of me from probably 6-7 years ago, and I was like, wow, what was I doing?
Yeah.
And I was like, where did those years go? I look so young.
Yeah, tell me about it. You like new fish, Ryan, don't you?
I love new fish.
Well, there is a fish that on paper sounds fantastic. So this has been bred by Kamihata Fish Industries.
Is it an angelfish?
In Japan, it is.
Okay.
It is and they've given the scientific names, but I'm going to give you the proper names instead. Proper, which is not proper. Straighten up your boobs.
Yeah.
It's a Venustus angel, which is the one that Maleb had, I think.
No, he had an Interruptus.
Oh, so he did. Okay, so Venustus anyway, crossed with.
They're the purple and yellow ones, aren't they?
That's correct. Yeah. So this is a Venusta,
and
it's crossed with a multi-bar angel. or barred angelfish, as Google says. What are you, Ryan? You're looking.
Is this going to be the same as all the other angelfish, where you have two nice ones and then you put them together and they get some sort of like weird mix of brown?
Yep. So I think they're banded angels, so ignore those. But that's that's the result. And that, you offer me the choice, maybe he'll grow out, and when he's a bit older, he'll have some cooler colours. But that to me looks like a rubbish Venusta angel. Like the multi-bar is, for me, is one of the most beautiful fish in the hobby, and that is like, nah.
I think it's too small to tell. They change drastically, obviously as they get bigger. Those ones change pretty quickly into like their adult colors. So you get adult colored ones even when they're really, really small. It's not like with the like Empress, where it takes a year or so or 2 years before they change. So you'll probably see pretty quickly what that will end up looking like. But I would reserve judgment for now because it's too young, I would say.
Well, they're naturally occurring hybrids in the wild as well. But I don't know what they look like in the wild. But if it looks anything like that, I'm not interested.
Okay. Any price?
No, but it's probably a lot of money.
Yeah,
not aiming it for me, but so far, no, don't like it. It's okay. It's not brown, and it might be better, but you know. Anyway, let's move on and offend some other people. So, actually, do you know what? Let's do Reef Summit. This is
yes.
Earlier. So, TMC Tropical Marine Centre in the UK is putting on an influencers event for influencers like Ryan, because Ryan's an influencer.
Yeah.
And it is it's middle of May, 13th and 14th of May, Tuesday and a Wednesday. And this is on reefkeepingnews.com, so you can read about it from there. So you can't attend unless you're on a guest list, basically. And there's a list of, I think, 10 or 15 people, maybe a little bit more. Some really cool people going, actually. Some dickhead.
How did you get an invite then?
Hey. Some dickhead called Ryan, who I'm not interested in.
Oh, I beat you to it.
So Amy does some stuff from TikTok. 1 million followers on TikTok.
Is that what it is now? It was. I know so. I was 800,000 last time I saw it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, Danny's Aquarium.
Yeah.
The man, the myth, the legend. Who else would you have heard of? Mrs. Emotions.
Yeah, East Coast Reefer is coming as well.
East Coast Reefer in the chat, and Practical Fish Keeping as well, but various other people as well. There's a list of 15 people. You can go and check it out to see who's going. But it's invite only, and there's 15 people going. But it looks like it's going to be really good fun, and you'll see lots of videos about it because you got vloggers going basically. But day one,
sorry, I was going to say it's a 2-day event, isn't it?
It's a 2-day event. Day one, we're going to go to the Horniman Museum, which is where Jamie Craggs lives. Kind of. It's where Jamie Craggs has set up his coral breeding, coral spawning lab. Yeah. That's going to be a really cool day. And then day one in the evening, we all go out and get smashed. And then day two, we go to TMC. I've not read up on. I'll look closer to the time, but I think day two is at TMC. Yeah, at HQ, TMC HQ basically, and looking around all the fish and corals, all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be really cool. I'm looking forward to it.
It'll be good because there's something.
Jeremy Gay's there as well, by the way. Jeremy Gay of reefkeepingnews.com.
There's something about when YouTubers meet each other, because we all know that it's not always fun being a YouTuber, is it? And it's a lot of work. So you all have this bond together usually. And look, you, I, and Michael Aarons all met at one show, didn't we? And then we all went out for dinner afterwards, didn't we?
Yeah.
You wouldn't just randomly meet at someone somewhere and go, "Hey, do you want to come out for dinner with us?" And I was like, "All right, then." Just come out with 2 other people I just met. But so that's the people is the main thing for me that I'm looking forward to, and I'm sure there'll be loads of videos that will come out from it. There'll be proper people with cameras, like you probably. Oh yeah, you're probably gonna have your little spinny device, aren't you?
I'll have both, but the spinny device, yeah.
And then there's gonna be me with my iPhone, because that's all I ever use for every video I've ever made. But
to be fair, the spinny thing is the same quality as an iPhone, more or less.
Is it?
A tiny bit better. It's not.
Yeah.
But there's actually one other person that I've closed the tab down, so I've forgotten it. But there's lady from Quality Marine, and Quality Marine. I don't know if it's the photographer, but if it's the photographer, I love those photos. They're on Instagram. I think they're an importer, but anyway, just their photos are amazing. So I'm looking forward to meeting her. I don't know if that's her, but whatever. Quality Marine look like a cool company. So, but yeah, that's going to be really good fun. 13th of May, 14th of May, and you will see Instagram stuff and YouTube stuff and TikTok stuff and all your favorite socials covered, basically.
It'll be like YouTuber Inception with everyone filming each other, probably.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah,
but yeah, it'll be a fun day. It will be. I'm actually genuinely really looking forward to it. There's actually another day. I don't know if this is in the news that just after that, Love to Reef is happening. Which, as I said, I did a post on Facebook and Instagram at the start of the week. Although I did see that apparently most of the tickets have sold, but any what is it? What am I trying to say? Any aquatic show should be supported, and if you're free and you want to go, I recommend that you go to it because.
What's the date?
Oh, don't ask me the date. I don't know anything like this. I put it on my Instagram, so you can see on my Instagram, but it's.
I think it will be the. Oh, I don't. Let me check the Instagram.
You have to realize I basically function one day at a time. So at some point, someone's going to remind me the day before that I'm going to 17th of May. There you go. I just looked up.
17th of May. Yeah.
It's yeah. So, as I said, I sort of like I worry about things nearer time. You know the event at TMC. I don't know what day that is. But I know I'm going to turn up to it because I'll look at it's like
to be in your diary. yeah. Soon.
So, but yeah, any fish shows, I believe this and same as Aqua, I think it should be supported. So if you're around and you want to go and meet a load of other fish weirdos, it sounds like you need to book your tickets soon because there's only 10 left supposedly.
Amy does some stuff. Is in the house. Where is she? I can't see her unless you're talking about the event. Yeah, there you go. So it's my anniversary weekend, so wedding anniversary.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, just bring Mrs. Reef Dork along. Oh, I got this nice place to take you.
Yeah.
You're the one who told me that. What have you told me? Permission. No, forgiveness is easier to get than permission. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably not going to happen. It's not impossible, but it'll be a last minute thing. But anyway, if it is, but I think I won't be going to finish it. You had some news about something, a website.
A website?
Yes. Find it.
Yeah, so I don't know so there's a website. Do you remember when eBay said that they're not doing fish and coral anymore? Now, it's interesting because we've tried to work out what is actually going on with that, haven't we? Because they said they weren't doing it. Then about a week later, they changed their mind and said they are doing it now. So I then started putting stuff on there. And then I've put hundreds of pieces on there now. All of them went through. And then the other day, I got one saying, we've cancelled your order because it doesn't go with at your auction because it doesn't go with our policy. Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean it doesn't go with your animal policy? And I typed goldfish in. There's just hundreds of posts, or hundreds of auctions of live goldfish. So I don't know why that one coral flagged up.
But this is the weird thing because, after I said to you before the stream, after eBay changed their mind, said, "Oh no, we're going to allow live animals anyway." I went and looked up the live animals policy for ahead of the live stream because I wanted to make sure I was talking about the right thing. Yeah. And the live animals policy still says you can't sell live animals, and I was like, "That's weird." So I checked back a week later, same story. So the policy says that you can't sell them. Yeah. But they sent an email to everybody saying that you can sell them.
Yeah.
It's like, mate,
and then they take one out of probably 200 corals down and they send the message saying this isn't part of our policy.
There are tens of thousands of listings of live animals. So if you're not allowed to sell them on eBay, they're not doing a very good job of policing it.
Anyway, the reason we mentioned this again was because someone set up a website called Frag Finders, I believe. Yeah. And I got an email from the guy just saying, just want to talk to you about what this is. And the guy turned out to be really, really genuinely nice. So I said to him, and I said to Alex that we'd put it in the news. And basically, it's a website where people can put their own. It's like eBay, but specifically for corals. Mm-hmm. Now,
obviously, off your first order.
Obviously, it's small at the moment, but the more people that put stuff on there, the better. And obviously, I see this as something that could potentially grow. I'm not sure why I'm helping advertise this, because this goes against what I do. If you see what I mean. Yeah. But I promised the guy who owns it that we would mention the news. And then what happened was we ran out of time on that live stream, didn't we?
Yeah.
So, but the thing that do you want to bring the website up just quickly? The thing that I really like about that website, you see the map there.
Yeah.
At the if you go down, click the map. Now on the map, all of those things are where corals are being sold, for example. Now, obviously, there needs to be more people on there, and shops can go on there. I probably will eventually go on there, like myself. But when you go on forums or you go on Facebook, you can't see how close corals are to you, can you?
Yeah, that's clever, actually. Yeah.
Whereas the map is a genius idea. I actually said this to him on the phone when I looked at it. I went, that's the one thing that makes it really, really like different and worthwhile, because you can just click and go, yep, I don't want to drive too far. That's the nearest one to me.
Looks like you can type in your location as well. The only thing you can't search by distance, closest to furthest. That would be a cool thing to add. But yeah, it's early days. It's a cool idea. I think people have thought of this idea before, but it's never taken off. So if this were to take off, fantastic.
I think if eBay had stuck with their original thing of saying you can't sell corals in here, and because remember Facebook also did the same thing, then it would have far more like people going to it, because people need somewhere to go to sell stuff. So but yeah, as I said, I promised. I'm sorry that it's 3 weeks late. We ran out, didn't we? And then I forgot the second week, and then we had a week off.
Yeah, indeed. Fine. Well, there you go. Fragfinders.co.uk. Fragfinders or Finder, one of the two. There's 3 more bits of news. I'm going to touch very quickly. I was trying to find the email, but I can't find it. Amazon affiliate. I don't know if you got this recently. Amazon affiliate sent out an email to all of their affiliate people, and just gave a reminder of the standards that you have to set when you're using an affiliate link. So if you use an affiliate link that pays you a commission, you have to say, this earns me a commission, or words to that effect, or hashtag ad, or something like that.
Yeah.
And they clarified, I don't know if this is because people aren't doing it, but they clarified their requirement. And it's basically, you can't hide it, so people have to go fishing to look for it. It has it has to be clear that this is an affiliate link and earns commission or whatever. It doesn't have to say those exact words, but and it has to be roughly in the same location as the links. And so I went back and looked at my because I just have a template on all of my YouTube videos. I was like, is it clear enough? And it says it's got the links, and then below that it says some of these contain affiliate links, so I earn a small commission, that sort of stuff. So I think that's enough. But if you have an affiliate link program, if you use affiliate links, then check out your blurb to make sure you're compliant, because you've got to be as transparent as possible, basically.
I don't really do them, I don't think. I think they might be on some old videos, but I never really found success from it. I think if you're selling a product that people can then go and buy, it works better.
That's the thing. I think if you're doing a review of an iPhone or a TV or something, let me tell you how much I made. Hang on, what's that? Last year per month, divided by 12. £26 a month I made from that. Which,
I mean, that's not bad.
I'm happy with that. I'm not complaining. It's better than nothing. But 26 quid a month, it's it's nothing really. To be honest.
It's not life changing.
It's not. No, I'm not going to buy you can't get a Ferrari for 26 quid. I don't think
you can't even. You definitely can't do that. There's not even many fish you can buy for 26 quid these days.
No, so it's not a big money spinner for people in our hobby anyway. But I think it is for other. I see lots of times other YouTubers, it's like 20% of their earnings or whatever.
Yeah.
It's less than 1%. I don't even know the maths. But anyway, hey, Amy does some stuff. He's in the house. Hello. Oops. What else? Other news, right? So, really quick news. I'm going to get out of the way. Cade is now going to be distributed in Canada.
Okay.
Through a company called Big Al. So if you want a Cade tank like the one over my shoulder in Canada, you'll be able to buy one soon. I need to do the review of that tank. I've got it written, like half written. Oh, I've got to do it.
You've had it for ages.
I know.
And now you're talking about replacing it, and you've still not done the review.
But the thing is, I wasn't asked to do a review. They just said there's a tank. So, okay. But I want to do a review because I think it would be useful anyway. Anyway, if you want to buy a Cade and you're in Canada land, the 51st state of the United States of America, then you will be able to do that very soon.
Dangerous. Don't say that.
I know. Mastertronic Essentials as well is now, and this is not the most exciting thing in the world, but the Mastertronic Essentials, which I think actually looks quite decent, is shipping to, or it was 2 weeks ago, shipping to distributors in America. So you'll be able to buy one soon.
You're right. Not the most exciting news, especially for people in England.
And the final piece of news is that a 60-foot whale, 60-foot long.
I saw that. It's like double the size, isn't it, of a normal one?
This is not the shark in question, and it's a questionable report because so Jeremy Gaze reported on it on Reef Keeping News, and he said that they said that it was spotted in the Pacific Ocean, which Jeremy points out is, what did he say, 60 million square miles.
Okay.
There were no photos. When they just said, look, it's a 60-foot, but apparently he went onto Fishbase and he found that they are known to grow up to 68 feet, and that's a scientific reporting. So they have been spotted that big, but they're normally half that size. A whale shark is normally 30 feet or 10 meters roughly, whereas this one was 21 meters or 20 meters or 30 feet roughly.
How was this able to get on the news with no proof?
I know, yeah, I know.
I'm pretty sure I saw this on like the BBC or something.
Exactly, yeah, it was, yeah.
So,
but there you go. Someone said, "Oh, I saw a massive whale shark," but that's cool.
That's actually cool. Also, who's out there with a 60-foot measuring tape measuring this whale shark that no one got a picture of?
Yeah, mate, you should have seen it. It was massive.
Yeah. The next time the guy told that story, it was actually 65 feet, and then after that, it was 70 feet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's news. Thanks for joining. Bye.
Okay.
Do you have anything else you wanted to talk about, Ryan?
No, nothing else. There's still half the orders left on eBay if you want to go and have a look. I actually left some of the best ones for last, so I just thought I'd remind people at the end. So.
Very good. There was one last thing from the news. It isn't really news. Reeferpalooza Orlando is this weekend. Yeah. And that means that there's going to be lots of new products and all that sort of stuff coming next week. I did see very briefly that AI Aqua Illumination are bringing out an algae scrubber from their experience, which is quite cool. But there'll be more to come on that later because I think all the companies or the people that report on that will be working on it and reporting on it over the next week. So with a bit like next week, I'll be able to tell you.
It's been a while since there's been any sort of new innovation, but these are the shows when you actually see like really, really new innovation.
Yeah, a different algae scrubber with a different light is not innovation.
Yes, but it'll be interesting to see if there's anything else that is innovative because they usually wait until these shows to release them.
Indeed. So, there you go.
Okay.
Well, thank you very much for joining, guys. See you next week.
See you later.